you are getting more leg drive and more force and more whole body tension to cement your shoulder blades and get more stability. Those are, in my opinion, the biggest reasons to have an arch. Me James Me asking, can I get a long explanation of the arch for bench press? Super interested. So the arch for the bench press, a lot of people will say that you're not supposed to arch your back during bench press, it's supposed to be flat, blah, 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 blah. So let's look at an example here. Let's look at me when I am arching. The main thing to pay attention to is you don't hurt. So you don't want to have pain when you are arching. Yes, I have an arch, but I don't have pain because I am flexible to this point. Some people can bench up to have a much larger arch. So for me, you could probably fit a fist in there. If you want to put a fist in me, you could. Some people will take 2 fists, but I'm a 1 fist kind of guy. Now, what I'm saying basically is there's variation in different people in terms of what they can tolerate. Now, what is the purpose of the arch? First of all, having a neutral curvature to your spine, where basically you have lordosis, you have a lordotic curve where your spine is curving inward at the bottom. That is a natural position for the low back. If people are advocating for a flat back to where your low back is flat against the bench, I would actually argue that's unnatural from a strength position. That is, you want to have some sort of arch there, some sort of curvature. If you want to have a flat back, I really don't care. Like, honestly, that's up to you. As long as you don't hurt, fine, go ahead. But to argue that you shouldn't have an arch is silly. Now, why should you even have an arch? The arch helps in a couple of ways. One is it helps give me leg drive and whole body tension. The bench press is not just a chest movement or upper body movement. You can and should recruit your legs and your lower body to basically tense up and help drive backwards. Alan Thrall has a great video on bench press, general bench press form, and leg drive. Leg drive is difficult. I think leg drive is one of the harder parts of bench press to master. But the idea is, as I'm laying down on the bench, I am using my legs to push up and back. And so if I had zero friction on the bench, I would actually slide up on the bench. So to do an example here, with leg drive, I am basically using my legs to push myself up. And so if there's zero friction, I would just slide up like this and keep sliding off. Having an arch allows me to generate more force with my legs to kind of push back up into my lumbar, and then in a downward angle to take my shoulder blades and have my shoulder blades cement into the bench, because you want your shoulder blades cemented, because basically all the force is going to be the bar, the load is going to be lying over your shoulder blades. And so for the shoulder blades, that's going to be the main point of contact for your back, and I want that to be stuck. I don't want it to be moving. I want it to be feel very efficient. We were talking earlier about having soft, squishy shoes for deadlifting and squats, how you have a lot of power leaks. Same idea for general lifting like bench press. You don't want power leaks. You want to have full body tension. So leg drive helps with that, which having a better arch, having more of an arch helps with that as well. And also gives me a better angle to get my shoulder blades cemented into the bench. So that's the gist of why to have an arch. There's some other reasons too. Some powerlifters will want to shorten the range of motion. So by arching, I'm actually getting my chest closer to the bar. Range of motion is shorter. By shortening the range of motion, I can therefore lift more and I can get better PRs. And there's some decent science that Jeff Nippard quotes on one of his videos on YouTube, where he points out that having a shorter range of motion does not inherently mean you're going to lose out on gains. If anything, you actually still get gains. Having a shorter range of motion because you're lifting heavier. That is, you have a better rate of progressive tension overload. Now, another thing about an arch is by shortening the range of motion, for some people who have shoulder problems like me, the most sensitive place for your shoulders during a bench press is where? At the bottom of the bench press, the middle of the bench press, or the top of the bench press? And the answer is at the bottom of the bench press. This is where I'm using the most shoulders and least triceps. At the very top, I'm using the least amount of shoulder and most triceps. So at the bottom, my shoulders are most exposed, and my shoulders are not great. My shoulders are actually very sensitive and prone to injury. So from an injury perspective, if you have shoulder problems like me, having an arch helps put my shoulders in a better place because I'm never going that low. I'm basically shortening that range of motion, and it helps protect the shoulders. Now, there's other reasons too. I'm sure I'm forgetting a thing or two about why the arch is good or shortening the range of motion is a good idea. But at the end of the day, for me, it's about safety. Also, another thing about safeties is for my rack right here, I basically have the safeties are set in, these safeties are set perfectly such that if I arch, my chest will touch the bar and the bar will not collide against the safeties. However, if I flatten myself out, then the safeties will catch and I'll be safe. What I'm basically saying is, I don't need a spotter because my rack is perfectly set up such that as I'm benching, if I need to escape, I just flatten out and the safety will catch me because I'm arched and I'm a little bit higher. It happens to work out perfectly here. Obviously, if you have a spotter, you don't really need to use this. Or if you have a better rack that has a finer granularity for bench press holes, my bench press holes are not that fine, so I have a little bit less wiggle room to work with. This may be a moot point for some of you. But in general, I would summarize like this. Having the arch is a natural position for the low back, and also you are getting more leg drive and more force and more whole body tension to cement your shoulder blades and get more stability. Those are, in my opinion, the biggest reasons to have an arch. Just don't do it pain-free. Don't arch so much that your low back is hurting because you have to kind of work your way into it, all right?
If you like the content, comment, and subscribe on YouTube. Also, follow us on Twitch and leave the notifications on. Feed your brain, feed your body, and see you next time.